Welcome to an all-new episode of St. Louis Presents. Well, Vern, I don't know about you, but I cannot warm up. I am not enjoying these sub-zero temperatures that we've been having.
I had my top down a week and a half ago. It was 68 degrees outside. This morning it was 8 degrees on the way in.
Well, and the snow just won't go anywhere until, well, maybe we'll get a little rain over the weekend. But anyway, it is just god-awful cold. And interestingly, today we're going to be talking a little bit more about the weather, and we're going to be talking about meteorology and Ameren, Missouri. So we'll find out what those two things, why they go together.
Ameren, Missouri, quantum weather, fascinating. Fascinating.
Also fascinating, I think, is the rise in African dance in St. Louis. And today we're going to also talk about a little dance, which wouldn't be a bad idea on a day like this.
It'll warm you up.
To get up and move around and get some exercise going. So maybe it's even great for losing weight, which I know many of our New Year's resolutions were to lose weight. So
were you giving me a hint, Debbie?
No, I was just purely thinking about myself. I need to warm up and lose weight.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about those things and many more today on this edition of St. Louis Presents, so stay with us. In 2007, Alicia Depry-Gbaho had a vision of creating a dance company rooted in African cultures.
She has made that vision a reality as the founder and artistic director of Beyond Measure Dance Theater.
Thank you for being with us.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
And I love the sunshine part of your name because you are a very sunny person.
I try to be. Thank you for that.
Let's talk a little bit about the dance company. I know you have been doing it for at least 7 years or so, and you've got to find it heartening to see the rise in popularity of African dance and the number of people participating.
Yes, you hit everything on the nail. I've been doing it since 2007 as my own company, but I've been dancing for a long time with other companies and, of course, as an independent artist with shows by hire and things of that sort. So I wanted to do something that was similar to what my training was through Catherine Dunham, but also that was different from what was being done in St. Louis. So Beyond Measure Dance Theater is my dance company. It's an Afro-fusion-based dance company. We don't just do traditional West African. We do this style called Afro-fusion, Afro beats. We do a little bit of Caribbean dance. We definitely do jazz swing, of course, hip-hop. We try to blend the lines of African-rooted style dance, music, and culture through the company.
Now, dance is really hard work, particularly when you were coming up through the Catherine Dunham technique. Alicia, where did you get the name Beyond Measure?
Well, Beyond Measure represents a couple things. We wanted a company that was measured beyond just one style of dance, but we wanted it to be measured beyond thinking not just dance, but also fitness. And as we'll talk about a little bit, the company promotes Afrofusion dance, and we also promote Afrofusion dance and fitness. So we wanted everyone to think about African dance, not just traditional, but think about the African diaspora through it, and also think about health, mind, body, and spirit.
So you've probably been very busy during this month of February in particular, I would think.
Yes.
Performing all over?
All over. We have a school tour season, which is very heavy in February, but we also continue to have by hire performances with events like we just performed at UMSL. They had a Black History program. We have classes throughout the week on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and even on Saturday.
Honestly, can anybody dance? Because I feel like I have my own thing I can do, but I can't even do like intermediate step aerobics. I'm that bad.
Well, some people think that may not be true. I think every human being has the ability to dance. There's an old African proverb that says, if you can talk, you can sing. If you can walk, you can dance. Now, some of us may sing off key and dance a little bit awkwardly, but it doesn't mean you do not have the ability. And that's where I come in to help you get better at it.
Now, as far as venues to perform, it seems like we have more and more places to perform. So
Absolutely.
that must be a good thing for the dancers in the area.
It absolutely is. If you go to the website again, we keep all the information on new workshops that are coming up, where we're located, and performances, ticket information, and things like that. So always go to aliciasunshine.com and you'll have all the information you need.
Alicia, how long have you been doing this?
Ooh, well, if I say that, I'll be telling my age, but I've been doing this for a long time.
No, the Beyond Measure dance.
Beyond Measure
yes.
started in 2007, so
okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you find that the people who are taking classes or performing with your company, do they do it for the fun, for the fitness, or do people now feel like there is a possibility of doing this as a career?
That's the beauty of the classes, because it takes traditional African dance and traditional dance, and it takes traditional fitness, and it blends both of them. I actually have two young ladies who just joined the company, and they joined the company, they were taking my classes, and I saw their love for dance. They also had some dance experience in their background. So it blends all of that. Some people come for fitness purposes only, but they love to dance, and some people come because they're very serious about dance, professional dancers. So it's open to all levels.
Well, Alicia,
awesome.
We appreciate you joining us and telling us more about it. And certainly, let's get some information up there so that people know where to find you. AliciaSunshine.com, Beyond Measure Dance Theater. I'm looking forward to taking in a performance.
Thank you so much.
All right, and Vern's got some news for us, so let's see what he's got on tap.
Thank you, Debbie. In light of the recent measles outbreak, the City of St. Louis Department of Health is asking all parents, providers, daycare providers, and school administrators to check the status of their children's measles immunizations. The Vaccines for Kids program, Medicaid, and the Affordable Care Act require childhood vaccines to be covered at no cost. If a parent is unsure of their child's insurance coverage, they should check with their provider. The City of St. Louis has 4 federally qualified centers who participate in these programs. Find your nearest health center at stlouisihn.org. The Board of Aldermen voted 17-11 to approve a bill allowing eminent domain in a North St. Louis area designated as blighted. In an effort to keep the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency in the City of St. Louis, along with 3,100 jobs and $2.4 million in annual tax revenue, the more than 100 acres would be made available to the agency for their new headquarters. Project staff photographers from Over There, Missouri and the Great War, a statewide World War I digitization project, recently visited Soldiers Memorial to photograph World War I artifacts. Among the items digitally imaged was the Purple Heart awarded to John R. Slay, great uncle of Mayor Francis Slay. You can find the Purple Heart and other interesting World War I artifacts at the museum and online this spring at MissouriOverThere.org. Let's go over to Debbie and see what Debbie has for us with Ameren, Missouri, and St. Louis University.
Thanks, Vern. That's right. Ameren, Missouri and SLU's Department of Earth and Atmospheric Sciences have partnered together to develop and operate a more precise weather monitoring system known as quantum weather. And here to tell us more about it are Kevin Anders of Ameren, Missouri, and Dr. Robert Paskin from St. Louis University. Thank you both for being here, gentlemen.
Glad to be here.
Now, this sounds, quantum weather. It makes me think immediately of like the TVs when they have their, Doppler and super duper Doppler wars. So, Dr. Bob, is this anything like that? What is quantum weather in a nutshell?
Quantum weather takes advantage of a lot of very new technology that's not widely available, and we combine that with some resources that Ameren has given us to give Ameren the ability to better prepare for severe weather events. If I have ice, if I have wind, they're going to be able to move their crews into some place where they're best allocated. And we do that by taking the data that Ameren provides us from this collection of sensors that they've put out for us, plus some numerical models, plus some data quality, plus a whole lot of tools that we've built at the university to do a far better job at forecasting than what anybody else in the country can do it.
Now, Kevin, I imagine, at Ameren, when you hear, for example, there's going to be an ice storm, that's good to know to be prepared, but you if you could pinpoint that a little more closely, that would certainly help you in the crews, right?
Absolutely. The quantum weather information helps us be more prepared for those storm events, and particularly it enhances our ability to move resources that we have normally deployed across the state of Missouri to the areas that we think are going to be affected by a particular storm.
So how precise are we talking, Dr. Bob?
I'll give you an example that there was an ice storm in 2009. We were able to tell Ameren that the ice would begin to accumulate at around 6 p.m. and would end at about midnight. It was going to accumulate at 1/1500ths of an inch per hour, and so by midnight there would be 2 inches of ice. It would be between Cape Girardeau and call it Kennett, and Ameren was able to drive the trucks down to that area before it got dangerous for their crews to drive. And they had the right tools in place in order to do the job. That was something that made a big difference.
Now, this is a partnership that right now is solely between St. Louis University and Ameren Missouri, from what I understand. So how did Ameren Missouri get to even hear about quantum weather and obviously make a fairly sizable investment?
St. Louis University came to Ameren Missouri with an opportunity. They saw an opportunity to provide us with better weather data, and it required an investment on our part to install the weather stations that Dr. Bob alluded to. We have about 100 of those out there across the service territory. We capture that data, bring it back to the Ameren Missouri headquarters, and then ultimately to St. Louis University. And to us, then they just turn that data into a weather forecast for us.
Now, do you find, Dr. Bob, interest from other organizations that might want to do what Ameren has done?
Ameren has done a great deal with giving us the tools in place, the money to develop the tools that we needed. Given that development, there's been interest on the part of other utilities to the question of can we apply this to other places? And there's a move afoot right now on the part of Ameren and St. Louis University to move this out to other utilities across the country.
It's really very fascinating. Have you been able to, other than the example in southeastern Missouri that you pointed out, Dr. Bob, Kevin, has this come in handy in the St. Louis area? Because I know, we have snow that comes in, and maybe it's going to be, a dusting downtown, but just in, North County or beyond, it'll be 2 feet, right. Which I think is probably, has been hard to pinpoint a lot of times.
It comes into play on a regular basis, including in the St. Louis area. We get regular updates from Dr. Paskin on upcoming weather. We're able to, in response to that, hold crews, make them available to when the storm actually hits, so that they're able to start work immediately after the outages that we experience happen.
Now, other than the convenience for customers, because nobody likes to be without power, obviously, but other than that convenience, do you see a practical application on a daily basis for just the average person, Dr. Bob?
There's a problem that St. Louis University had when we developed this program in the early 2000s, and that is that the National Weather Service has, by law, the ability to make forecasts. Nobody else is allowed by law to make forecasts available. And so one of the things that happened in 2006 when we had that major storm that caused 500,000 customers to be without power was that we knew it was going to happen. And all we could do is just sit back and watch it happen. Because by law, we're not allowed to give this information out.
I don't even think most people realize that.
No, National Weather Service is the only group of people that can provide a forecast.
So when you're working on this quantum weather project, your students at St. Louis University are getting some hands-on
that's one of the
practical applications
one of the big
too.
things for the students' interest is that a lot of our students would like to go to work for the National Weather Service, and because they're not used to working in an environment that is time limited. All of a sudden they'll get a notice that your forecast is 10 minutes late. You're supposed to provide me with a forecast by 2 o'clock, and it's now 10 minutes after, and I still don't have a forecast. And it's wrong. So let's sit down and talk about what you did wrong and how you did it wrong and why you did it wrong. And it's a big advantage for St. Louis University students because they have that opportunity to sit in the hot seat.
Yes, a forecast is no good if it's slow and wrong. Well, we thank you both for being here to tell us discussing quantum weather. Thank you so much.
You're quite welcome.
Really fascinating, and we hope you enjoyed this edition of St. Louis Presents.